Good afternoon, teacher. Good afternoon, classmate. Today I'm talking about a so important topic like is restorative justice. In this case, I'm going to the comparison, my interviewer and me. And the first question, my interview is what is a victim? And my interviewer respond. The victim is a person affected by another who has acted with antisocial behavior. That is, who has been hurt in some way by acts perpetrated by others. In this case, I am agreeing with the answer because generally the victim is a person who has affected with the offender and he or she was hurt. And the second question is what is offender? In my interview answered, it is a person considered as an aggressor who does comply with the norm or law established to determine the second person or persons. I agree too because I think the offender is a person who harm another person in this case. In other words, at the victim. They can be, I consider the dangerous. Probably they are beginning in this case. And the third question, what is the main goal of the restorative justice? In this case, my interview respond basically is objective that is social integration. All of those affect that is an approach to integrate the offender, victim, and the community. In this case, I am agree. In this case, I am think restorative justice is commonly defined and approach to justice. This focus on the addressing to the harm person or the harm caused by a crime while the holding the offender responsible. Probably their actions, one actions or several actions. And the next question, number 4, what are some advantages and disadvantages of the restorative justice? In this case, my interviewer respond, I believe that main advantage of this important resolution because companies integrate legal process and does not depend only on the state of the knowledge of. In this case, I agree because in several cases, probably the victim don't want to participate in the restorative justice because probably she feels angry, nervous, anxious, I don't know. Is probably she feels probably want to harm to the offender too because she is harmed or she was harmed. I don't know. I think it's very complicated case to make a meeting of the with an offender and victims. In the next question, number 5, what are some possible disadvantages of the restorative justice? My interview respond the current situation in the majority of the countries that have a traditional penal system controlled by the states or the population. In this case, I think that, for example, in Ecuador, I don't seek the restorative justice because generally exists a lot of corruption and probably the offender is a benefit for the restorative justice and not the victim. For that is a very complicated resolution. So it's probably it is become a big legal conflict, I think. And the next question, can restorative justice be applied in any kind of the criminal act? My interviewer responded, he doesn't believe in case can be applied. There be case of the more serious crimes can become complex on the moment of the copy face-to-face the victim with the aggressor at the near the resolution. In this case, in my opinion, I think don't exist the restorative justice from the offender, only the victim, because, for example, a rapist could probably had a lot of psychology problems. I don't know, and the victim is feel afraid and nervous, afraid to even the society. I don't know. I think in this case, I don't apply the restorative justice in the case of the offender, obviously. Another criminal act could be a killer. In this case, I believe that I don't exist restorative justice because probably they are financial to the killer. I don't know, and I think don't apply this justice. And the next question, number 7, what is your personal opinion with the application of the restorative justice to civil legal conflicts? My interviewer responded, restorative justice in our country will allow more efficient use of the criminal justice system, which will focus on the efforts and the limited resources of the more serious crimes. In my opinion, in my personal opinion, I think restorative justice probably solve legal conflicts, because in several cases I thought that is impossible, because for example, a killer, I don't think that he solved legal conflicts. In another case, probably when psychology problems in the victim, then probably is a court to apply this justice. Probably this justice could be to improve the conflicts themselves, probably the outcome. And the next question, number 8, is restorative justice officially practiced to solve legal conflicts in our country? My interview responded that has been most developed in the country revolves around the legal conflict is minors or adolescent offenders, in which guidelines have been developed for the application of this type of approach. In personal opinion, in my country, I don't think that exists restorative justice, because in our country exists more corruption than the restorative justice, because actually Actually, in my country, exists teenagers involved in the drugs. In this case, exists a group or policemen specialists in the take care of the children or teenagers. It is called DINAPEN. This organization helps to the children or the teenager to in the psychological problems, behavior probably, and problem in families. I don't know. I think it's a good organization because we can find helpful in bad situations, I think. So this organization intervene in the correct place, in the correct moment. That is all of my presentation. That is all my comparison. Thank you for your attention. Good night.